Hello everybody, welcome to episode 9 of the Spotter's Guide. I've moved a little bit. This is not a permanent move, as I just wanted it to be sunrise while I explained this, as you need to set the colors to see what I'm going to do with. So episode, I believe, 6 or 5 was Into the Woods. And people felt that it wasn't very instructive, it wasn't very informative. Unfortunately, I went looking for trees and only found trees that I had already found before. Here, however, is a large selection of trees, namely 2, that we have not seen before. First of all, this is a Douglas fir, which we have seen before. This is also a Douglas fir. Here's our hickory that we've seen before. And here's a sequoia. A sequoia is a unique tree in that you cannot get saplings from them, but they are huge. They will drop a large amount of wood. However, since I am a fan of the landscapes and stuff like that, I am not going to deforest this forest. I just wanted to show off these types of trees. And what we're going to do here is we're going to cover the third and defining characteristic of trees that will help you identify them a little bit easier. So when you tap a tree, the particles that fly off, let me see if I can't get a good there, we go. The particles that fly off are actually the color of the lumber that the wood would be if you were to take the logs and turn them into wooden planks. So you'll see that the Douglas fir is actually a very light color. In my inventory here, I happen to have a couple of planks from the Douglas fir, and you can see that it's a very, very bright wood. What we're going to do here is compare that to this birch tree here. Again, the little dark spots on the corners here signify that as a birch instead of an aspen. But you'll notice that it's a fairly dark wood. You know, just a traditional like little light brown, but darker than the skin that it actually is. The hickory is the nice dark wood we've seen before. And that's basically what we have in this forest, are just the really large sequoias, and the birch, the hickory, and the Douglas firs way over there. You'll notice that in these particular forests, when they're growing with the really tall trees, the very tall versions of the other trees that grow underneath them are fairly common. So I'm just going to run back to the base, where my home is. Some very nice dark stone under here. And you'll see, oh, going to take this opportunity to run over to that jungle. Did not even see that on my way here. But I can show you the unique interiors of the jungle trees as well. Ooh, lava back there. Don't know if you could hear the quick little glub over my chatter or not. So we'll just get to one of these trees. So these trees share the same characteristics with the sequoias, which is kind of ironic that they're that close together. But this is another tree that you cannot get a sapling for, so you will be unable to replant these trees, but they will drop an extraordinary amount of wood. So you can actually see from here, from this angle, this illustrates the third way. The third purpose a little bit more is that's the color of the wood. When it's in the tree format, it has the bark on the outside, but the color is the same as right there, and that's what you'll be seeing peeling off. It's kind of like a periwinkle sort of color is what I refer to it as. It comes out as a fairly nice pinkish blue, so a very light purple sort of color. And just, you know, tapping on the wood is, oh, collapse over there. Tapping on the wood is a good way to see that. So before it gets too much darker, half the day, we're doing good. So my faster movement speed is because of smart movement. I have been playing quite a bit on the SMP servers with a group of people, and it's actually Sinlust who showed me this trick with the particles, which really helps me out quite a bit, because the inner woods are fairly distinctive, while the outer barks and the outer leaves can sometimes be fairly indistinctive. Whoa, sound like a spider Oh, now this is interesting. This I will have to come back to later, because clearly chest, and spawner. So I really wonder what spawns down here. So now I can't remember which direction I was heading, but I do remember that hill over there. So just use smart movement to navigate a little bit easier. Oh, and if we go this way, I can answer another question that was in the topics. And I can still see a bit of that forest over there, the jungle. So, some wolves all the way out here, nice. I was asked where these little wells came in, and this is actually from a mod called Vanilla Minecraft, which is just the normal Minecraft game. So not a mod at all. This is something that Jeb has added into the game that will randomly spawn to put water into the desert. Just looks like an odd stone down there. So this isn't part of any mod. These actually just will randomly spawn in any environment that has a desert for Minecraft. What should be noted is there's a new change as I'm using Preview 5. I believe I mentioned that before. Here's the new sword to prove it. And for Preview 5 there was a change done by Biox where you're unable to, from this point forward I suppose, have it spawn in a the creations. I thought the dungeons were actually gone as well, but it's possible that that one already spawned because I was already glanced over that direction in the world. So I believe that's where that one came from, which will make it of interest. If it's a zombie, then I'll still be able to try and get a suit of armor. While I know the real ones for the mod are coming down the pipeline, it's still just a fun thing to spend a little time trying to do still every now and again. What I want to show up here is that I've rearranged my forge a little bit. So I do hope that that information on the tree colors was useful. If not, you know, I'm still going to try and find all the different types of wood. I have finally run into, and across all the different worlds and testing that I've been doing, I finally run into a few maples, which were the last tree that I had not seen yet, and it turns out they look a heck of a lot like an oak, or an oak, or a bit like a hickory, as they share similar characteristics to those two types of wood, so they would blend in. So it's quite possible that I've actually seen them, but the color of the wood is a fairly orangey color, like more of a paler version of the sycamore, which is a fairly bright orange. But I wanted to show this, as I'm a little bit proud of this. This was kind of a collaboration between people in the IRC channel. I had made a small forge, which would just be this little 3x3, which kind of goes underneath there, along with a back piece and one overhang. This single overhang would protect the forge from rain, and it would then allow either over here up to the sky, over here up to the sky, or what it's actually working on right now is one block over here and then direct access to the sky. So this gives it the access to the sky that it needs for it to properly burn. And I do not have a way of lighting it right now, but it is actually a working forge. Has the bellows in the front, and then I've replaced the front two with a workbench and a metallurgy table. This allows me to go fairly quickly from the forge to the anvil, where I'll then be able to weld, or the forge to the metallurgy table, where I'll be able to mix alloys, which I will be getting to either the next episode or the one after that. I simply need to find copper so I can make a set of copper ingots and get up to a copper version of the anvil. Then I'll be able to go on to bronze, where I can mix some of this massive amount of tin that I have found, which was again in the mine right there, actually underneath the stairs to the left. I just kept on prospecting around until I found it. But we'll be using that tin along with the copper to create bronze, and that will get us into the Bronze Age. But this is a conjoined set of 3 bloomeries, 1, 2, and 3. The one closer to me have their own little bellow. The one in the back does not have a bellow because these 2 blocks on either side are actually the blocks that mark out the edges of this bloomery here, and those are required in the side. is you can replace some of the corners here with other tools and such, which what I've done with the anvil to get it into place and such. But the corners that are like the flat edges from the 90 degrees are indeed required to actually form the bloomery. Now normally, in my original design, these only came up one less than this, so they only came up one above that block there, which serves as the roof to the forge. But in talking with Biox about how the bloomeries work and such, is that we generally tell people that you want to keep your ore and your coal in even mixtures, or have your coal greater than the amount of ore that you have. This is still a general good rule, and it will guarantee that your bloomeries always work in the proper manner of what they're supposed to do. But at the end of the day, you actually can shortcut things a little bit, because what you really need to do is heat the bloomery up, and you can't heat a bloomery up if it has... and it starts to rain. Perfect timing. So you'll notice that there is no rain on the forge, and that is exactly what you want. The rain only falls on the blocks out here. I believe I should have some cassiterite. I thought I had it on me, but apparently I have left it in my log cabin. So I'll just go and grab this real quick and cook up a couple more pieces for you. Whoa, creeper. We will go in the front door then. Never argue with a creeper. That's how the whole rearrangement on the surface actually started going in any case. Gypsum, limonite, jet. I believe that might be iron. I'll have to look into that one. So I thought it was useless, but I believe I'm actually mistaken in that one. We shall leave the rest of them here. And if that creeper was gone, I would actually sleep for a bit. Time to take a risk, I suppose. Ah, it is gone. Should have just checked here. This would have been so much easier. Of course, now it's appeared right outside, and it will blow up my house. So the little fast speed is from Smart Movie. I found out a bit more of it playing with other people, and if I didn't mention it, that whole tree thing was from a person on the multiplayer server and from the IRC channel named Sinlust. This design collaboration here was mostly done by myself with the initial forge layout, then the recommendation from people in the IRC channel, especially Aaron Shada, for saying that a bloomery could fit in there, and what I thought he meant were the ones to the left and right, so I added those and asked if that's what he meant. He showed with one in the back, and so that's how this little contraption came about. So I'm just going to hop up to the top. I'll eventually get a set of stairs all the way up there, so you can already see it light up. So I'm just going to do that. Got 4 pieces of coal in there. Then I'm going to stoke it a little bit, as I want to just heat my bloomery up, get the temperature to about here or so, and you'll see the coal output slowly drop. So every piece is equal to 4.5 kilograms, so we put in 4 pieces, that's why we have 18. I'm going to go up now that it's warming up and start putting in our cassiterite. I'll just start with the 4. See that the temperature still rises, which is all good. New interface on the bloomery. I don't know if you've spotted it yet, but it actually tells you how much of an output you have. And there goes our first piece of coal, but our temperature is still nice and high, even though we have more ore. Just give it a little more pumping. And as the ore drops down, what you will notice is that as soon as it changed, the temperature froze, and nothing else would happen, as it was impossible to raise the temperature any higher. As soon as the ore, however, started to deplete, because cassiterite does not have too high of a melting temperature, and the coal then outweighed the ores, the temperature shot up again. So the temperature is staying pretty steady. We have a steady supply of coal. Now what I'll be able to do is just go up. I won't need to use any more of the coal as long as I keep this fairly steady. But you'll notice I just put 12 pieces in there, so that's going to be a lot. 49 to the 5, or 45 to the 9. Whoa, a little listexia there. So the output, 6 kilograms. Temperature slowly going down. Let me see, I probably can't make it go back up even with the bellows, but even at just its normal temperature, this should be enough to melt the cassiter, and there it goes. So it dumps down the cassiterite, and that was just the pause in between me putting it in there and what temperature it got to. I'm going to stoke the fire a little bit more as we still have 9 kilograms of coal. Goes up just a little bit there. And I'm even going to put in, I'm just going to fill this right up. It is important to drop all the pieces in one at a time like this. If you drop them in all at once, it will read it as one object, not as a group of 8 of them. And I'm even going to add in just a little bit of coal just because I want to top this off. That holds quite a bit of material in there. And our temperature is still stable. I didn't actually have to add in that coal, it would have stayed stable the way it is. But you'll see that our output has now significantly increased. Even though we're putting in a lot of ore, every single piece of ore gives you 1 kilogram of output of steel, and it takes 2 kilograms of, or not steel, metal, sorry. And so it takes 2 kilograms of output to actually constitute a single bar. So as long as that is an even number, and you'll see that the 40 is where it's capped out, that's why I'm taking it back out now. Yeah, there we go. And now I'm going to start having inventory problems. I need to be very careful on this screen because I actually have a bugged object right now that I'm using to help test and track down an issue. Is that thing that looks like an ingot on the bottom right here actually isn't an ingot at all, and mousing over it will try to cast it into an ingot, which is what it appears to be, and not do good things for me. So I'm actually out of any more ceramic molds, as I wasn't actually expecting to go through that many of them. So let's just fill those out there. So you'll notice the output stays up. I can always get that back out. The coal that I put in there was actually wasted, as it was up to 36 from 9, and I only went down to 31 with getting the rest of the ore out. The temperature is sitting at its normal state. So I just thought that that was important. That's why I'm going with the slightly taller stacks, as I'll be able to throw more ore in without having to go up and down. And I thought that was a useful bit of information to correct from my previous video. So I hope that the new tree information kind of makes up for the lack of information on the Into the Woods. And I hope that the new design for the forge and the bloomeries is appealing to other people. I know it's a little lackluster. You could probably decorate it a little bit. I've seen them with multicolored stone, you know, having like a nice gray there, go up the sides or something like that, and just do little design patterns and such. I ended up going with just the black bottom where most of the burning is going on, and then the white tops just for the nice little design. But so next time, going to be smithing some more tools. I want to show the usefulness of a saw. It allows you to get multiple planks at the same time. I also want to start trying to do, I hope to have a whole bunch of copper by then, so I can show you welding. That's really what I want to focus on the next time, because welding is a bit tricky. It's very temperature sensitive. In the preview 5 that is now out, it is actually a bit easier to do it. The temperature range has been that welding can occur at has been increased, so it's not as timing critical as it was, but a significant number of people find it actually more difficult to weld ingots than to create alloys. And alloys, you're balancing temperatures of 4 or so metals at a time, or 2 to 4 metals, whereas the ingots, you're just trying to balance the temperature of two ingots to weld them together. So look forward to that next time. That'll be episode 10. And I will also be uploading more bonus videos, which will be the focusing on some of the SMP stuff. We just had a bit of fun over the weekend and such, and I recorded some videos of us all just wandering around. So look forward to seeing those as well if you're interested in the ones that aren't entirely instructive. So until the next time, please leave any feedback in the comments and such, and I'll try to address them as I did this time around. Thank you very much.